On paper, the Netherlands is roughly the combined size of Connecticut and Massachusetts. Its entire population is smaller than the Paris metro area. Building a massive retail or software company typically requires a massive domestic market. A founder builds a product, tests it on 100 million local consumers, and uses that domestic revenue to scale globally. Yet a disproportionate share of the world's digital commerce infrastructure was built here. Dutch companies power global payment processing, run massive online travel platforms, and manage huge global file transfer networks. They didn't have a giant domestic market to rely on, so they engineered an alternative, a highly specific stack of physical logistics, their cultural wiring, and regulatory policy built strictly for cross-border trade. Having a tiny consumer base forced companies to think globally from day one. That perceived weakness forced an export mindset that made them highly effective at scaling everywhere else. The country sits adjacent to Europe's wealthiest consumer corridor. Within 1,000 kilometers, there are 244 million consumers. From a single warehouse, a parcel reaches London, Paris, Frankfurt, or Brussels overnight. That speed is why brands base distribution hubs here. That geographic placement is fed by the Port of Rotterdam. It is Europe's largest seaport, moving nearly 397 million tons of cargo in 2024, comfortably outpacing its closest competitors. In the air, Amsterdam's Schiphol Airport moves roughly 1.5 million tons of freight annually, surging alongside global e-commerce demands. These two massive global entry points are located just a 40-minute drive from each other. Both hubs plug directly into a remarkably dense national grid of roads, railways, and inland waterways. The entire physical layout of the country functions as an ultra-compressed funnel. It catches inbound global freight and pushes it deep into the European continent faster than competitors. Moving physical boxes is only the hardware. The cultural operating system of Dutch founders is equally geared toward export because selling solely to the domestic market caps growth almost immediately. This instinct to trade outward has been developing for over 4 centuries. The Dutch East India Company, founded in 1602, was organizing international supply chains long before the digital age. They pioneered the concepts of shareholder ownership and built the first modern stock exchange to finance those global operations. Today, that historical momentum is paired with a distinct linguistic advantage. The nation consistently ranks at the absolute top of the Global English Proficiency Index. Every product page, every support article, and developer document can be written in the working language of the internet without needing expensive translation layers. When an English-fluent workforce inherits centuries of export-focused business practices, international expansion is the default setting for a new company. The third layer of this ecosystem involves government policy, specifically rules that act as financial accelerants for companies moving goods. In many European Union countries, importing goods means paying value-added tax immediately at the border. If you bring in massive volumes of stock, that tax bill locks up your working capital for weeks or even months. The Netherlands utilizes Article 23. Instead of paying up front, importers record VAT on a periodic tax return later. Goods clear customs without triggering an immediate tax hit. You can divert that cash straight back into marketing, hiring, or buying inventory. By deferring those payments, the Dutch customs border hands high-volume e-commerce firms a mathematical liquidity advantage over competitors operating in stricter jurisdictions. That same regulatory efficiency applies to the digital side of the transaction, processing the payments. When the EU updated its Payment Services Directive, the Dutch central bank moved early to establish a clear, predictable process for issuing licenses to financial tech companies. Because of an EU mechanism called passporting, securing that single Dutch license automatically grants a company the legal right to process payments across all 27 member states. While competitors in other countries were stalled by slower, more conservative bureaucracies, Dutch payment processors were already scaling aggressively across the continent. You have a massive logistics funnel generating overnight physical delivery. You have tax laws freeing up operational cash. And you have an English-first workforce running borderless financial software. Often, countries attempt to build digital economies by simply subsidizing web development and building a few warehouses. The Netherlands demonstrates that true digital commerce requires aligning the physical environment, the culture, and the regulations to push in the exact same direction. They engineered a structural blueprint for global trade, and the rest of the world is attempting to catch up. Let's talk about the bedrock